Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. Alright, so I just want to do a short lesson on how alone the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai allows it to go. I don't want to name the video the 14th Amendment / a $1 trillion coin. All right. And what Slakia, Lord Woods brothers can see on the screen, I have this article here from the Washington Post, and it says as funds run short, the Treasury asks agencies if payments can be made later. All right, so I'm going to read a little bit of the article, or the top of the article, then I'm going to jump down. It says the Treasury Department has asked federal agencies whether they can make upcoming payments at a later date. Two people familiar with the matter said a senior Biden officer searched for fresh ways to conserve cash, Slovakia, and prevent the U.S. government from facing an unpredicted default. All right. So it says while a debt looming, and the thing you got to ask is where are they getting all this money to give to Ukraine? They're running out of money. Where are they getting all this money to give to Ukraine? All right. Me just speaking as a man, I believe that they gave all the money to Ukraine, and now they're asking, can we make payments on a later date? All right, or whatever. Basically, like it is an IOU. All right, because they still haven't come to an agreement on the debt ceiling. And I just read another article on the Zero Hedge saying that it's still, they're nowhere near close to coming to an agreement. It says with the deadline looming in less than 2 weeks, the White House is looking for ways to buy more time for President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to cut a deal and to raise federal debt ceilings, which set a legal limit on government borrowing without additional borrowing, a fresh burst of tax revenue, or new ways to slow spending. The federal government expects to miss a payment for the first time in modern history in early June. To put off the so-called X date, when reserve runs dry, the Treasury officials have asked their counterparts at federal agencies about the flexibility of payments due before early June. One of the people said Treasury has not asked federal agencies to postpone payments beyond their due date, the person said. All right, so basically they're trying to get an IOU. But again, the title of the lesson is the 14th Amendment and a $1 trillion bill, because that's a solution that Biden, I'm pretty sure brothers already heard the solution that Biden has come out and said that he, invoking the 14th Amendment. And also, they're talking about minting a $1 trillion coin. All right, which I don't know exactly how that's going to work. How that whole thing is going to work. But I'm going to pull up the value of a $1 trillion US dollar, a US $1 trillion coin. All right. Again, I don't know if they're going to distribute it to the people or what exactly it's going to do. All right. But anything there's only one of, and it's a trillion or 100 trillion is not good. First thing that comes to mind is the $100 trillion Zimbabwe dollar. And we all know how effed up the Zimbabwe economy is, or was at one point, and still is. In a letter on a letter Monday to lawmakers, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen affirmed that Congress may have only until June 1st before the federal government exhausts its supplies of cash. Though she again predicted that Treasury may be able to hold out until early June, some Wall Street forecasters have said the true X date, the day when the government finally missed payment, is likely June 8th or June 9th. So roughly around the first to going into the second week of June, they could completely and utterly run out of money. But again, if they're running out of money, or again, I believe that the money that they had or whatever, they gave it to Ukraine. Because Janet Yellen went over there to Ukraine as well and wrote them a check and gave them a check. And Biden just handed them another check. And they handed out a few other checks to Ukraine. But they're saying that the debt ceiling is effed up, and now you got to come to an agreement about the debt ceiling. All right, which Biden already said he's not concerned about it. But let me jump down, because again, the title of the video is the 14th Amendment, and which is a band-aid. It's not going to fix the problem ultimately. And the $1 trillion coin. Which, Lord willing, I'm going to look further into that. the $1 trillion coin. I don't know exactly how that's gonna even work, but it's not, you know. Well, I'm gonna pull it up, Salaki. 1 second, brothers. I gotta find the. Did I pass it, Salaki? Might have passed it. Yeah, I did pass it. Yeah, okay, here it is. It says, how you pronounce it? They Ak Abbas, if that's if I pronounced it right, said other options such as slowing payments or raiding trust funds would entitle other risks. The Biden administration has recently called to end the debt ceiling standoff by invoking the 14th Amendment or minting a 1 trillion coin, actions they view as risky and subject to a legal challenge. The current search for ways to prolong the X date could similarly plunge the administration into uncharted waters. So again, if they can't come to an agreement, what they want to do is invoke the 14th Amendment or mint a $1 trillion coin. Which again, I gotta look further into that. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. If they're going to distribute it to the people, or I really don't know how they're going to do that. How that's going to work. But anything, if there's one of and this you saying is worth $1 trillion, it isn't good. Again, even a coin or a coin or what you call it, or a dollar, it's not good. If this one thing is worth $1 trillion, and again, we all know that how that played out for Zimbabwe. All right, so I'm gonna pause it real quick. Up the 14th about something about the 14th Amendment. All right, Salaki, brother. Lord Woods, brother, to see on the screen. This article is from the Hill, and it says, Mulvaney, if I pronounce that right, the 14th Amendment doesn't really solve the problem. It says former Trump White House budget chief Mickey Mulvaney, how you pronounce it, said Monday that invoking the 14th Amendment to avert a federal default would do more harm than good. In an interview with News National, The Hill, uh, Muvano, however you pronounce his name, said he said that likely the interest rate spike and legal uncertainty to follow the 14th Amendment maneuver would damage the economy. It doesn't really solve the problem, he said. There's a lot of good controversial conversations going on. I don't really think the 14th Amendment is going to get either side very far very quickly. President Biden has said that it would reductively invoke the amendment, which declared the U.S. debt should not be questioned. If he's unable to reach Slovakia a deal with Republicans to raise or suspend the debt ceiling, progressive Democrats are ramping up pressure on Biden to invoke the 14th Amendment and conservative Republican demand, but doing so would be an unpredictable test of a constitutional law that could send tremendous tremors through the financial markets, according to the legal and financial experts. The Big M said that borrowing costs would likely spike as investors lose faith in the abilities of the U.S. to pay its debt. A jump in interest rates could slow the economy into a deep recession, which we're already in, particularly after the Federal Reserve runs up rate hikes. All right, so there you go. That would be the problem with it, which isn't good if Biden decides to do that. All right, which if the elites decide to do that, which that sounds good. That sounds like something they could do, or they could just default completely on it. All right, so let me pull up real quick about the $1 trillion coin, real quick. Okay. I just typed in 1 trillion coin, $1 trillion coin, and it says the $1 trillion coin is a concept that emerged during the United States debt crisis in 2011 as a proposed way to bypass any necessities for the U.S. state Congress to raise the country's borrowing limit through the minting of a very high valued platinum coins. Which platinum is valuable, but not as valuable as gold and silver. If they did this with, which they're not going to do, all right. But platinum, I mean, it has value, but again, not as much as gold and silver, especially gold. It's nowhere near the value of gold, all right. And the numbers that don't mean anything because they manipulate the markets, all right. So, um, yeah, this is something that they're looking into doing. And again, I don't know how it's going to work if they're going to hand other countries this coin or whatever. All right, and see certain articles. Lord willing, I'm gonna read them. But Salaki, I gotta get ready to go in. Um, and again, I don't know how it's how that's gonna work. If they're gonna give it to the American people, or they're gonna give it to other countries. I don't really know how it's gonna work. But as of now, this is it right here. It says U.S. $1 trillion silver coin. It's only worth $20. All right. Well, this is silver. It said platinum. It's a platinum coin. So let's see. If we could. Okay, right here. This is for 2013. It says $1 trillion trial coin. If that's from 2011 platinum, it's only worth 60. You can get it for $60. All right. So not a lot of value there, to be honest, to be real. All right. So again, that's from. This is from 2011. Let me click on it. Because again, it did say it was a trial coin. They was going to test it to solve the problem in 2011. Okay, this was for 2013. So what? 2 years later, it says $1 trillion trial coin, 2013 platinum layer, 11.2 proof metal. And you can get it for a little over $60. All right, so this isn't. Again, I don't know how they're going to do that, but if they're going to distribute it to the American people. But another thing too, people don't understand. Like, you take people's money and say it's worthless, we're going to give you this instead. How is that going to play out? In other words, man, things is about to get ugly. And one other thing I thought about, I know that this is a coin, and the U.S. and Zimbabwe and all that was a dollar, but anything that that there's one of, and they say, okay, this is worth $1 trillion, isn't good at all. All right. And again, to buy things the way inflation is going up and so on and so forth, this is the first thing I thought about. Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has a $1 trillion bill. All right. And check this guy out. He's probably just going to the store to buy some milk and bread. And this is probably all $1 trillion bills he has. All right. And they suffer hyperinflation horribly in Zimbabwe, as you can see right here. This is $35 quadrillion that he has, and it's worthless. He probably could maybe if he's looking to buy